The isekai genre is one of the most popular genres in anime for the last few years, and it's near impossible to not get seasonal anime without one or two isekai shows. This is a genre people often consider the trash food of anime, and you don't have to look into it very hard to see what are they referring to. An isekai about being transported to another world as a vending machine, or this one about being transported to a fantasy world but this time is with your hot mom. But what if we changed your usual premise of a fantasy world with elves and knights for something more interesting? What if we put a salaryman being reincarnated as a little girl in a World War setting? Alright, how do I explain this anime without sounding like a weird hardcore weeb? Well, if I manage to make a video about schoolgirls in miniskirts in tanks, then I guess I can do this one. Youjou Senki, or the Saga of Tanya the Evil, is an adaptation from a light novel with the same name, and follows the story of this nameless salaryman in modern Tokyo in the moment of being murdered by a resented subordinate whom he previously fired for poor performance at work. But before our nameless salaryman was about to get hit by a train, he is confronted by a divine entity declaring itself to be God, who berates him for his lack of faith. After the many statements of the salaryman not acknowledging his existence and criticizing his various statements and insultingly calling him being X, the entity decides to punish the salaryman by reincarnating him into a world where he would have to face extremely difficult circumstances just to make him plead for help. In the form of a little girl. Hi there! Okay, I'll stop. Tanya von de Gurechav, an orphaned little girl living in totally not Germany, known as the Empire, in which is involved in an armed conflict against the not allied nations, which takes inspiration of mostly the First World War. But this is anime. Having an alternate version of World War I is not good enough. We need more. So magic is a thing in this world, and thus used in the military. According to God's words, if she's not able to die a natural death or she still refuses to have faith in him, her soul will leave the circle of reincarnation and be sent to hell for the numerous sins she has committed in her previous life. Looking for an escape to such destiny, Tanya decides to join the Empire's Mage Corps, hoping to reach a high-ranked position as soon as possible to be far away from the front lines and avoid getting killed. Despite her seemingly cute lolly appearance, her real personality is the total opposite.
Hell no!
Ruthless, Machiavellic, cold-hearted,
Racism, sexism, homophobia.
no, not like that. Not exactly a people person. She's basically a mix of Sergeant Hartman from Full Metal Jacket and Sergeant Highway from Heartbreak Ridge. She will eat your babies, bro.
では始めよう。防衛訓練の開始だ。
大変！急げ！さっさと手を動かせ！訓練団なら合格術式でどうにか。
おかしいな。向こうの手違いか実弾も含まれているようだ。そこまでやるか！
Fundamentally, Youjou Senki revolves around Tanya and her elite mage Vetalin going through different missions behind enemy lines, destroying important industrial and strategic targets to help the Empire win the war. Out of all the enemies from the different factions of the conflict presented in the series, Tanya's real opponent is God, as he always changes the situation as he pleases. The beef that's going on between these two is that Tanya is an atheist. She doesn't believe in the existence of a god, meaning that she should be able to survive under difficult circumstances without having to rely on faith. Her life's philosophy is that you can do anything and succeed if you have worthwhile qualities. If you're not capable to do what's necessary, then
Get the fuck out of here!
God, aka being X by Tanya, is trying to force her to have faith in a higher power, and he's using all means necessary to have her change her mind, though most of this just involves straight up pissing her off left and right. Every time Tanya thinks she has things figured out and that everything is gonna be smooth sailing, being X comes into scene and wrecks her plans. It's almost like a gag in the series. She says something like, "Hey, everything is going to be fine. What could possibly go wrong?" And then everything goes wrong.
南方の酒や調度品を土産に久しぶりの休暇を楽しみたまえ。身に染みついた砂塵を洗い流し、心身ともに英気を養うのどうしてこうなった。
First time.
But enough of philosophical talk, we watched Youjou Senki for the action, the military tactics. We just wanna see our Nazi lolly beating the shit out of the enemy. The way magic is used in this world is very different from how it's used in other shows where you have to recite a long spell to generate magic and scream the attack. Here it's used more as a power source to allow the user to fly and amplify the range, power, and damage of the projectiles. Only Tanya, to her distaste, and a very handful of characters have to pray to be able to activate these powers. At first I thought this series was going to be more historically accurate, just with the concept of magic sprinkled on it. Like an interesting take on alternate history, seeing how magic has affected warfare, how flying infantry with artillery fire capabilities is far more advanced than what we saw in real life with the introduction of tanks or fighter planes. But I came to realize that mages in this show are more of a specialized unit that, yes, they're more powerful than a German albatross or a British sub with camel, but it's still not powerful enough to change the tide of a war. They still need support from normal infantry, motorized vehicles, manpower. In other words, the nation's military, industrial power, and many other things. I'm surprised that the opposing side didn't have much defense against enemy mages besides having their own. I guess flak isn't a thing in this world, but hey, what do I know? I'm not a historian. Trying to analyze these things of a show about a Nazi lolly that can fly, it's kinda pointless. Despite Youjou Senki being set in a fantasy world, the attention to real historical detail is quite remarkable and takes numerous elements from both world wars, though it doesn't care of the chronological order of events or how all this different tech came to be IRL. But if you like your military history, you'll see some references and be like, the military leaders and politicians are direct copies from the real counterparts, like General Rudersdorf is a mix of Ludendorff and Hindenburg, General de Lugo is totally based on Charles de Gaulle, and in the movie we get introduced to the Russians with this guy being Joseph Stalin, and this funny looking guy is Gorbachev. Also, I want to mention one hilarious scene from the movie where Tanya not only goes and attacks the totally not the Red Square, but humiliates the Russians by destroying important landmarks, makes a propaganda video, and raises the Empire's flag like that picture of the Soviet flag over the Reichstag. This is big content. But let's be real here. Youjou Senki is a series that you watch mainly to see Tanya going through different missions, obliterating everyone who stands in her way, well, not before asking if they have any visa.
ご入国の目的はビザはお持ちですか？
ふざけるな！
ビザはお持ちではない。
You're invested on the ongoing war, and this time you want totally not Germany to win this time. So far, the series has its 12 episodes, a full-length movie, and one OVA of 16 minutes that was released in 2021. And as far as I know, a second season has been announced, but no confirmed release date yet. The series is aware what type of show is and knows what type of audience is appealing. Military weeps who love boat girls. There's still more stuff to see from Youjou Senki, and as an anime-only watcher, I'm eager to see if our Nazi lolly defeats being X and totally not Germany winning the war, because you know, it's not like I'm a die-hard fan of the German army or something like that.